Crypto-mnesia. What do you think that means? Do you think it has to do with crypto? We're going to find out. Hey everyone, I'm Crypto Billy, and this is Billy Goattales, part of our motivational mindset series. Let's get into it. Crypto-mnesia. I'm sure we've all encountered this. It occurs when someone mistakenly believes that an idea is their own thought, their own original thought, when in fact, it was previously encountered or learned from somebody else, another source. It's a form of unintentional plagiarism where the person genuinely forgets the idea's origin and perceives it as brand new, as their own. It's kind of interesting, and I'm sure this has happened to you, and I bet you've mistakenly, unintentionally done it to somebody else. Like a great example of this would be, let's use a writer. A writer pens a story unaware it's inspired by a book he or she read 2, 3, 4, 10 years ago. It's very, very common in creative fields, writing music, painting art, creating pretty much anything, everyday life kind of stuff. And it can lead to accidental plagiarism or even disputes. So, say you're talking to somebody on the phone and you're talking about many topics, just life things. You're both in the same field. You just briefly mention, hey, you're working on this. You're going to be working on this app, or you're going to be working on this particular topic. And a couple months later, that person actually launches the very thing that you said you was going to work on, because in the moment it was casual conversation. You were just talking about many things. Your brains are jumping from here to there. You didn't store it in your frontal lobe. You stored it in your subconscious. And you really, truly, unintentionally just forgot that even that person mentioned an app that day. So many years ago, we used to have an owner of the company that I worked for, and we had a joke. And we would say, hey, if you want to make your idea come to fruition, bring it up in the board meeting, and 6 months later, the owner will bring it up and think it's his idea, and then we'll get it done. So literally it happens. It's a phenomenon. And I bet it's happened to you. And I probably would bet that you've done it to somebody else, of course, unintentionally with your subconscious at work. So what happens with this is the brain actually retrieves an idea, but not its context. So like you heard a song before, and then if you're a songwriter later on, maybe 10 years later, you write a similar song, not even able to recall that you heard that song before. And science has narrowed down to common triggers that make this happen more frequently than it otherwise would. Exposure to lots of different ideas. So in that creative field, you get a lot of different ideas. You don't log where it came from, who it came from. Your subconscious logs the idea. Stress can make this more common. Multitasking. If you're into a whole bunch of different things, you might be passively listening, not actively listening. And so your subconscious hears it, but you don't really hear it. And so you go on your merry way. And next thing you know, you're repeating somebody else's work. From a cognitive standpoint, memory is reconstructive. It's not a perfect recording. The brain automatically just fills gaps, and sometimes it omits the origins. There's also environmental factors. Overload of information like social media or books or increased exposure to different types of ideas or a lot of information at once. Your brain can't process it all, but the subconscious brain can, and it stores it with no context. Pretty likely that they're going to forget the source. Like in my world, a couple of things that's happened to me is I've literally been telling this particular joke for a long, long time, but I don't recall who told me the original joke. So it's in my arsenal now, but I can't remember or recall who told me the joke. Maybe one day I'll tell the joke to the person that actually told me, and they'll say, oh, you still remember that, huh? The question is, what do you do when cryptomnesia happens to you? What do you do with that? Well, first of all, if someone points out similarities to existing work, Don't just dismiss it. Reflect on the possibility of that. Reflect on it could have happened. We all need to act ethically and humbly when this happens because it is not on purpose. It's not intentional. Cryptomnesia is unintentional. The person most likely isn't stealing your idea. He or she most likely may not even recall where they got to see their idea or even if they had the conversation or not. But if somebody confronts you about this, you have to stop and recall this could have happened and it probably did happen. And one way, if it's in a professional, like for pay situation, one way that they can prove to you that this was their original idea is they probably have a lot of notes. They probably have emails, text message, maybe even pictures that they can show that they were working on this way before you and they must have given you a passive idea or talked to you about it and you just didn't recall it. It happens all the time. We have to be humble, we have to be kind, we have to be ethical. Now, on the other hand, if it's serious professional work, well, that's why we have copyright laws and that's why we have trademarks. And what I would do is I would contact or consult a lawyer to address the potential plagiarism claims. But that's in serious work. That's in the professional setting where a good example would be you wrote a song, you shared it with a friend. The next thing you know, his progress happens before your progress. He takes your song pretty much word for word. That's a little different. Cryptomnesia is really truly unintentional, and it happens all the time because most of us are not always actively listening. We're filling in the gaps with, yeah, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. Hey, I got something else to tell you, and you move on. The subconscious brain stores it, but your active brain, your frontal cortex, it doesn't. So they don't even know they're doing it. So cryptomnesia is very common and it's manageable with just honesty and being proactive. Just tell the person, say, hey, do you recall me talking to you about this? And most likely they're going to say no. Because when it's truly unintentional, they truly don't remember. But then you can move forward and say, hey, that day we were talking about this or that. I brought up this idea and we moved past it. We didn't really talk about it that much. But I just want to let you know, I've been working on this for 3 months and I would love to send you my work so you can see that it actually was a concept being worked on by me. You just got to market really fast, and I think you just unintentionally took my idea. You just gotta be straightforward and humble and kind. But remember this too: everything happens for a reason. So in most cases, don't let it come between you and a friendship. Everything happens for a reason. Things are going to maybe purposefully and take you down a different path because of that. And guess what? Maybe at the end of that path, there is a bigger golden nugget than if you would have even developed the song or the painting or the story or the app. So just be humble and kind with it and just know that it happens to all of us and it's very common. However, if it is in a professional setting and this is your livelihood, this is what you do every day, and you really feel that somebody plagiarized your work, then yeah, I would consult a lawyer. But in most cases, it's nothing like that. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this segment on cryptomnesia and hopefully you learned something today. That's what we do here at Billy Goat Tales. Please remember we are streaming on YouTube every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have a Twitter X space every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we go over all these topics. It's a personal development space, it's a leadership space, and it's a cryptocurrency space. Have a great day, everyone.
You can be tough, you can be hard. If you are not a giver, here's my card. There is only one way to win, one way to be well through loving and giving. There is nothing else.